starting your own home service business doesn't have to be this enormous multi-year endeavor where you have to commit $100,000 or more in franchise fees to some franchisor. But actually, it's very possible to start a successful, profitable, and consistent home service business for about $1,000, maybe $2,000 in a stretch. And you could do it for even less if you're determined to. So here's how to do that if you're really committed to starting the home service business, but you don't know where to start. Hey, Chris Schwab here, and if you've been thinking of starting your own local home service business, I wanted to reassure you that you don't actually have to go the franchise route to do it. This has been a typical traditional way that most of us have started our home service businesses in the past, has been that we've contacted local franchises of brands that we really respect and would want to start on. You know, we have national brands like McDonald's that we all know, but there's also local and national home service brands as well, whether that's Window Genie for window cleaning or Mosquito Joe for, pest extermination purposes. There's all these great franchises that have been built up over decades, which may not be the best fit for you when you're starting your own home service business. They certainly have their strengths, but they can be extremely expensive to buy into for what I consider to be vanishingly small benefits as the digital landscape changes rapidly. These franchises often started in an older type of world where marketing and brand reputation was very face-to-face based. Buying certain territories that you could control as a franchisee was very common. But business is done very differently nowadays in the 2020s. And so I wanted to walk you through a simple path that you could take to start a low-cost home service business that can turn into a thriving location-independent business. This is actually what I've done myself. I started a popular cleaning service in the Washington, D.C. area called Maids back in 2016, and it's grown since into a multi-state successful home cleaning business. But I've also helped hundreds of other students start their own successful home service businesses, not just in cleaning, but in painting, in lawn care, in pressure washing, in window cleaning, even in pest control. So we've done this repeatedly all across North America and even in certain countries in Europe, like the UK and France. So we've got a great base of knowledge that I want to share with you a little bit of today. I think the first big step is to actually just head on over to Google or walk around your local neighborhood and take a look at what home service businesses are popular in advertising in your area. Maybe you've been a customer of those businesses, but you never thought about them from a business owner's perspective. I'm more talking about sometimes when you're walking around your neighborhood, you might see a branded car go by for a local maid service. Or you might notice a dry cleaners who's been in business for 20 years and they've established several locations just in your city, but they're not anywhere else. Or a local coffee stand, which has done really well the past few years, and they've started to open up new locations too. Now I want you to think about where your interests lie in the home service space. And if you don't know what your interests are, that's fine. Maybe you have a background as a painter, and so you're naturally drawn to the painting industry, right? Or maybe you have a background, like I do, as a house cleaner. And so you're naturally drawn to the house cleaning industry. But many of us won't have that background in home service business space, but we know we want to start a home service business. In that instance, what I recommend that you do is pick one of the following as a great starting point and commit to it for a year. If you do that, I promise you, you'll start to really learn what your strengths are and if you should continue this type of home service business or another type. The three that I recommend are house cleaning, I'm biased, but I recommend it, lawn care, house painting. These three home service niches are great for several reasons. They're great firstly, and I think most importantly why you may be watching this video, is because they have a low startup cost. You can start a lawn care, maid service, or painting business for $1,000 to $2,000, including startup marketing and website costs. They have very low barrier to entries besides cost because everyone needs a house cleaner or everyone needs a house painter when they're doing renovations, right? These are common services that often people need repeat jobs done, whether that's monthly or even just yearly. You can choose a big general niche like house cleaning, and you don't have to find a super small specific type of cleaning niche because the demand for general house cleaning is so great. Even with all these companies out there already offering house cleaning, you know that you can find customers and provide a good job. The second step is really to just choose the niche that you want to focus on for the next 6 to 12 months. Once you've got that done, now you're starting to look at startup costs. And the startup costs in the home service space is very small. I've seen people start with $50. I know several guys who started window cleaning companies. They bought a $50 window cleaning kit off Amazon and then went around and started cleaning people's homes, right? They didn't have anything else at the start until they got their recurring customers through, and then they started to make everything a little more official. But you can start very small. If you're starting one of the 3 home service businesses that I recommend here in this video, these are some of the typical startup costs that you're going to encounter. You're going to need to have a website. This can cost anywhere from $50 to $500, but you're not really going to want to spend more than $500 for your website domain, hosting, template, and your email subscription for your website. You do want a professional Google G Suite email. That's an @yourdomain.com email. You're going to want to set a separate $500 aside for hiring and paying your teams for their first job. So let's take house cleaning as an example. When you get your first teams on, you're going to want to pay them for the trial clean that they do, and you're going to want to have a little cash on hand to pay them for the first 1 to 2 jobs that they do, because it's going to take a couple days for your payment processor to deposit payment from the customer into your bank account, and then you'll be able to pay it to the team. Another $500 for a bunch of the legal stuff that you need to do. That's typically forming your LLC, that's getting insurance, and that's registering with your city, right? These are the 3 ones that are really important to do, and they each cost anywhere from $100 to $200 if you do it yourself. They're pretty cheap, but they're very worth doing essentially from day one. I also recommend that you get a business bank account set up ASAP, because it makes everything that you do with payment processors, accepting payments, paying out people much easier, especially for tax reasons too. But that's about $1,500 in startup costs. If you do nothing else, you could have a functioning business already and start to just market for customers organically without paying any money. But if you can manage it and squeeze an extra $500 out, I strongly recommend that you have an extra $500 to put towards paid marketing and sales campaign softwares. These are common softwares like Go High Level or your booking software. Common ones are Jobber or House Call Pro in my industry, and some marketing money for lead platforms like Google Ads or Facebook Ads or Thumbtack. Now, if you'll notice, I've only walked through a few expenses that are common to starting all businesses. There's one other I did want to mention, but it's typically somewhere between $20 and $50 a month. It's your phone system. You are going to want a phone system too. But what you'll notice is this is all very manageable. Now, $1,000 to $2,000 might seem like a lot of money from where you're standing right now, but it's a manageable goal to build up to over the course of several weeks and months. It's so much more manageable to do this than to invest $50,000 or $100,000 in a franchise with the only promise that they can give you is that they've got a great reputation or they've got a great onboarding system to help you with. Now, you can find success with franchises, and I know many business owners who've done very well by purchasing into franchises as a franchisee, but I know many more who've actually started very humbly, very small like I did. I started my cleaning company with just about $700 all in, and that was a little tight, but it worked. And so I recommend for you, if you're looking to start a home service business, these are some of the initial steps that you're going to take to start it from scratch without ever having to do the franchise route. Now, I'm going to do some more in-depth videos on this. If you're interested in starting a home service business, but you've been deciding between doing it yourself or going down the franchise pathway, I'd actually really like to hear from you on what concerns you have on the 2 different pathways that you could take. What might be holding you back from doing it by yourself, or what might be holding you back from buying into a franchise? I'd actually really like to start a discussion on this exact topic. I'd really like you to comment below, and I'd like to hear what you think about if you're more confident doing it by yourself, or if you feel there's a lot more safety in doing it with a franchise, despite the higher cost. So thanks for tuning in. I hope this video is really helpful.